part of what if nobody won the Napoleonic Wars. Now, before we start the scenario, I would like to, so I changed the borders of the Congo because, I thought I gave a bit too much to France here. So I gave a bit more to Spain, I gave a bit to the Netherlands, I gave a bit more to the British Empire. Without saying, let's get to the scenario. Now, as in the last episode, I talked about why Bulgaria isn't semi-independent, and the reason is simple. See, with the British having more oversight on the Ottomans, they will stop the Ottomans from doing, well, things like this. Like basically, a word that I cannot say but starts with a G. They basically did more in Bulgarian town, which led to the Russians declaring war on the Ottomans. 1867, the Russo-Turkish War, some upon Bulgaria and all that. This didn't happen here. But, because the Ottomans are still the Ottomans, means that, they're still unstable. And, with them not being able to use their favorite tactics to stop revolts, revolts actually becomes violent. Even Serbia, who is semi-independent, and so we basically see a revolution, revolts in Bulgaria and in Serbia. The revolt in Serbia obviously focuses on the Kingdom of Serbia. And obviously then you get, Montenegro actually joining in the fight. And Greece, taking advantage of the position. Now the British would like to do something. But they kind of can't, because, well, if they do, they know that, Russia will probably get involved with this. But, realizing that somebody is closing in on Constantinople, the British will probably get involved with it, sending soldiers and all that, and also by proxy, supporting the Ottomans, which are obviously now not going to hold back on those on those minorities. Let's say it like that, which would lead to the Russian getting involved. Now, like in our timelines, they would probably struggle in that one city. I forgot the name, but they would get stuck here. With British help, I think the Ottomans may actually be able to push back the Greeks and maybe even the Serbians, although not as much as they would like. We would probably see the Austrians taking advantage of this to totally not annex Bosnia. Trust me, bro. We're just here to expand, to not expand. And then and then we'll probably see a peace deal. So. And basically this is what I came up with. So full independent Bulgaria, the Austrians managed to get away with Bosnia, those guys expand a bit and become fully independent, and Greece expands a bit. Now what would happen is probably, because obviously the Russians have their own ideals on the Balkans and actually want Constantinople, the Greece will probably be left alone because, peace with allies, because, the British supports the Ottomans, and so the only other option is basically France. France and Greece would probably become allies. And then we got Central Asia, which I'm going to update the map immediately. And in this timeline, because the Maratha Confederation is an ally of France, which means the British Raj doesn't actually expand. You might think that there is no great game, but because again, this is an ally of France. There's a great game, just a little bit more different. And France will probably still try to prevent Russia from getting access to the Indian Ocean, just like what the British did. And this will probably end up with, the Maratha Confederation, as well as Persia, invading this small state, which I forget the name of, but they aren't relevant, so who cares? Like in our timeline, Maratha Confederation expanded the region. The only difference is, this time Afghanistan doesn't get smaller, so and they're probably just under Russian influence. Also, the Spanish-American War still happens, but like nothing would change Then to probably see a war, between the British Raj and Siam, or more likely just a deal to just literally just get those areas as well as Singapore, and then get this, basically making the early 20th century almost complete. With after that you also got the Opium Wars and all that, and I don't see really how strong the first will really change, except like maybe France gets a bit more things from China, but not really much. Like in our timeline, we still get the Russo-Japanese War, which we still basically end in the same way. So this going to Japan. I said, oh my god, thank you. In Korea being forgiven, so you get. So yeah, this would be like basically 1905. And now, honestly, like the only thing that is going to happen, because obviously the Turkish War won't really be happening, would be World War One. So how would World War One actually start? Because the Balkans already had their small things. So how would this actually go? Before I continue, I would like to say that Russian focus will probably still be on Bulgaria, because I doubt that a war between two newly created states, instead of Serbia being independent, and while Bulgaria is fully is independent and all that. So I doubt that a war would actually be happening here. So I think that Russia would still be focused on Bulgaria, just to want to clarify that. But yeah, what would be capable of starting World War One? And honestly, I feel like, well, this might seem hard at first. It's really not that complicated. It would probably be India, because the British Raj is basically not fully controlled by Britain. Also, yeah, I forgot to mention the British Raj actually takes those instead of Britain. But yeah, anyway, in my opinion, it would either be India, Germany and Austria, or Italy. But again, for me, it would probably be India. It's something happening between, because the Maratha Confederation is a confederation and the British Raj is a mess. Something will probably happen with like one of the members of the Maratha Confederation or something. Anyway, I doubt that, in my opinion, World War One was basically unavoidable, with tension rising, but not really any wars to lowers the tension with one losing a lot and all that, except for the Ottomans. Yeah, the Ottomans were kind of screwed off in this period. But yeah, and obviously with the alliances, more of the confederation being like France and all that, but like you get the idea. But yeah, kind of funny how this time it's a European stupid thing who starts a World War. No, it's an Indian stupid thing. But yeah, again, technically it could also be in Germany or even Italy. Now, we start with the Dutch, which are obviously the first one they will get basically obliterated. I don't think I need to really elaborate for that, because they're literally the only ally is Britain, but then you get Germany, then is North German Confederation, and France. Now also, you probably got in two countries like Sweden and Denmark, who probably join later, respectively the British side and French side, but probably later in the war. Now in this time, the African front may actually be way more important, especially in North Africa. Well, Egypt revolution actually happens there, because this time they stayed with the Ottomans instead of being on paper with the Ottomans being in fact controlled by the British. So they will probably revolt, which would threaten the Suez Canal, obviously. Now Libya, I don't think to explain why, is basically doomed here. Although especially from an invasion most likely coming from the west, because the north is like this part of the Mediterranean is controlled by Naples, who is allied with Austria and, well, the Ottomans. So, yeah, the colony, also the colony of Naples, would most likely be attacked. Now here we got something, because Italy, who is, yes, allied with France, would probably be like Italy in our timeline and not join the war right away, with probably like a deal being sent to them by both sides. Now what would the British actually give? Probably Rome, because I don't think the French would like to give Rome to northern Italy, so it'd probably be Rome, Corsica, as well as some colonies. While what France gave is basically Naples, the papal what's left of the papal state, and even land in Austria. Now overall, I think like both are really likely to be accepted by this alternate Italy. I feel like they'll probably take more likely the French option, because, well, they basically get the rest of Italy. So yeah, instead of, sure, they don't get a Rome, but like, it's fine. And they even get Austrian made land that are either majority Italian or were Italian at some point. So they basically double win. And they even might gain the Naples colony or even Libya or things. So they basically win most regional France, like, by default. Now before, like, I would like to say that it's probably more around like 1910 that this started World War I starts. There's a big who wins is basically Russia, but I don't think they would join yet. Now the southern part of the African front, nothing major would probably happen again. The major thing would probably be North Africa, as basically this would be a long front line, then like fighting across jungles and all that. That's not really practical and or worth it. But then you get mountains here if you want. Yeah, so Austria would probably start to get attacked in the north, and honestly, this Italy would probably even do better than the Italy North, because, well, they don't have the debt from the Italo-Turkish War, which cost like more lots for the Italian. And while yes, they aren't fully united, most of the industry literally was in the north to begin with. So that would mean that they do have they're more dependent for like the crops and all that to country like France, but they are overall stronger than the real Italy, so they might actually do things in the Alps instead of literally losing the war. The Greeks would probably join the war against the Ottomans alongside the Serbians and Montenegrins, and probably even Bulgars. Although I could see an argument that if Russia doesn't, Bulgaria doesn't join, so maybe not Bulgaria, but those two are probably gonna join. Maybe not actually, because they still have a war with Austria-Hungary. So Greece is probably going to join, because it's the Ottomans have other fronts, so they might actually dare to join. And the Italian front is in northern Italy, would maybe carry out operations, because I doubt many forces would actually be guarding Rome. Many French forces wouldn't be actually guarding Rome, but still enough to actually protect from an invasion here. Because they wouldn't. Realistically speaking, there is no way the French are landing here. There's literally no way. So the French plan, maybe the actual German plan in our timeline, basically winning fast, quick, and also try to basically prevent the British from key routes, like for example the Suez Canal. There actually is an idiot front, so almost forget about that. Honestly, I think it's obvious that the Moratha Confederation is going to be an advantage here. Not only was they given, industry and all that by France, but also, like, basically this would be the Russian of this timeline. Huge population, low industry, but who cares? You got a huge population. And even if the industry is like 90% French, it's still like good enough for a war like this. Especially Britain won't be able to send damage to the British Raj. So like this would probably be badly defended because this is totally connected and there's a lot of mountain. The actual fight might be when you close up to Bangladesh and all that. Because, like, for Hindu majority region are still under the Maratha Confederation, or would fall quickly, but like then we get to Muslim majority region here, a region that would definitely be guarded by the British. So, the fight might be harder when you close up to the coast or get close to Bangladesh, but overall, it might not be that hard for the Maratha Confederation. Now again, because the Dutch are with the British. This India company would this colony it's cooked. It's getting invaded from all sides by the British Raj, this India company. It's basically dead. Like the French I think like it wouldn't be even in the plan for the French to defend this, because it wouldn't be worth it. So Portugal will probably join the war and invade this, because again, Madagascar will probably not be defended that much. Now the French would again probably focus mostly on Egypt, like go up the Nile River, and also probably try to do something with because they probably have soldiers in India, do something from India to go here and try a similar strategy that the British did in our timeline. Now they would probably try something like this, and also like the British ask for the Arabs to revolt, which would probably work again because it worked. I don't see really any special reason why it wouldn't work for the British, like why it wouldn't work for the French if it worked for the British in our timeline. Now again, the big thing is that Greece is doing well until it really doesn't. Honestly, like it's still the Ottoman Empire. Like there is a reason why Greece went against the Ottoman Empire all along. At some point, I still probably get pushed back. Austria will still manage to hold that for a bit. Also, push back to their natural borders against Germany, and probably call for the Christian German to rise up, maybe even the Confederation of the Rhine, who might not see damage revolt because at this point it's probably consolidated, but still might see smaller revolts in the region. But honestly, at some point I feel like because they're going to want to because when the Ottomans start struggling a bit too much, the Russians are probably going to come in, and then at this point it's basically over for the British side. The Russians are probably mainly going to focus against the Ottomans, and this may even Romania might join against Austria-Hungary. Galicia is cooked. Basically the only one who would be standing left of the British side would be the British. Now before the Russian actually join, I wouldn't be surprised if the British try similar things to the German, being scared of the Americans joining and attacking Canada, because that's a fair reason, and because of the previous link, like I said, because the British are kind of ally-ish with Mexico, who probably ask Mexico to do similar distraction, and Mexico might actually be more stable than the real one. What I mean by that is not being in the actual civil war, because the British, I don't think the British would 100% just not have their pseudo ally. So yeah. Now, although I could see many reasons why the British actually wouldn't do that, because the relation with the US, like they weren't positive before World War One, but like they were pretty much neutral. And in this time, although in this time he kind of did help the South, it was pretty short and all that. So I would say it's overall as negative, but like not that much as negative. So I'm gonna say that the British actually don't do it, but they could actually do it, but I don't think they're that stupid. No, but yeah, with the Russians joining, I don't think I need to continue the scenario by this point, so I'll just do the peace deal. Oh yeah, also almost forgot about Denmark and Sweden. But yeah, to be fair, like, they would probably also stay neutral for the most part, because what would they even be given? Like, honestly, okay, sure, Denmark gained, like, equality here, because of their pseudo-alliance with France, but okay, what did Sweden gain? Nothing. So honestly, I doubt that anything would happen. So, peace deal it is. So this is what, for now, I came up with, because, there are other things I'm not really sure of. First of all, because, Bohemia is Protestant, they joined the Northern German Confederation, which obviously grows in size. This is, Balkans, so yeah, really, clearly didn't get screwed off, just now they want Rome. Serbia gets expanded, although because, again, Russia joined late, they won't get expanded as much as they would in our timeline. The king of Montenegro would probably not get killed, because, and get deposed, because Montenegro was not fully occupied in this timeline. So that means that, they wouldn't accept joining Serbia. Obviously, Greece expands, as well as Bulgaria. Romania takes northern Transylvania, because in this timeline Austria-Hungary is more stable. But yeah, Hungary is probably going to be broke off. Anyway, what I was not sure is, like, first of all, Macedonia, do I give it to either Bulgaria or Greece? Then there is also, what do I do with Libya? I don't know if giving it to Italy wouldn't make sense, considering they made a lot of gains. Like, for me, that would be weird. Also, yeah, Kingdom of Egypt. So, yeah, I'm going to try to find something, but, like, for now, that's why I made my things sound. So it's just for you to know that the other changes are things that I'm not really sure of. So this is what I came up with. So first of all, Middle East. This goes to Greeks. Constantinople goes to Greece instead of Russia, because Russia joined late. Although Russia does have, they do have, free passage through here, and I feel like that would be a fair deal between France and Russia. Kyrgyzstan, because it was actually France wanted to create Kyrgyzstan, so there. The reason France doesn't take Iraq is because, well, they'll probably get coalition and ruin the balance of power in Europe if they did. Because, in our time they wanted the Levant side. Basically boosted a bit the claim. They probably took away because oil. The British will probably keep the Suez Canal, because, again, balance of power. Same for Cyprus. African colonies don't change because Navy. I think that's a pretty good argument. So that we already saw the Balkans. So actually I agree with, basically giving Macedonia to Bulgaria. I thought that kind of didn't make sense. So yeah, that's the peace deal. Oh yeah, and kind of forgot about India. So pretty simple. India gets a bit of coast here, but overall, yeah, not that much changes in here, because yeah. So this is a peace deal. Honestly, it was really hard to do, because obviously the side of this world war makes absolutely kind of no sense. And again, Italy couldn't get Libya because they really expanded so much. So probably going to stop the scenario here, but tell me if you want me to continue it for War 2, although that might be hard. I might not even do it. and already in the series doing well. So yeah, see you next time, Saturday. Have a good day, have a good night. I don't know what hour it is in your country, but yeah, see you next time. That was Inpel Historian. Don't forget to like and subscribe.